Patrick Gibson joins us on a social media extra on the Music Universe podcast. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. It's great to be on here this morning.
Well, glad to have you, and we're going to introduce you to the audience. So, if you don't mind, go ahead and tell us a little about yourself and where you're from.
Yeah, my name is Patrick Gibson. I'm a country music artist, a singer-songwriter. I currently reside here in the state of Florida. Beautiful weather most of the time. They say here in Florida, if you don't like the weather, you can just wait 5 minutes and it'll change. Um, I'm a happy family man. I've got 3 young kids. I've got a beautiful bride and our whole life ahead of us.
I'm in California, so the weather is pretty much like Florida, except we don't get the hurricanes, thankfully, and too much rain. I know you guys can get a lot of rain there, but so what's it like being a country singer living in Florida, whereas most of them tend to be based out in Nashville?
I guess I could have said I lived in Nashville, right? You
No.
know, for us, Nashville's where the business is. And when I first started recording music back in 2005, our first producer up in Nashville, he said, man, he said, if you ain't got to, don't move here. He said, it's so crazy. He said, it's a great town, great people, but if you can just do your business here and go home, that works too. So I took his advice and we've done that. Listen, the music scene here in Central Florida is amazing. The entire state, you know, there's a lot of country music fans out here, a lot of outdoor festivals, as you can imagine, pretty much year round, which hit or miss the rain, you know. But there's a lot of hungry music people out here. So I'm glad to be a Florida boy, glad to be here in my roots, currently residing, and my kids are Florida folks as well. So nothing's really held us up here. Again, the music scene is wide open. There's some great talent out here, and I think it's a good thing to be part of.
Yeah, absolutely. I think every place has like its little music scene. I'm actually in Bakersfield, so they call it like what, Music City West or something like that. So, Buck Owens.
Walk the streets of Bakersfield.
Yeah, and Dwight Yoakam loves it here. So who are some of your influences?
Oh man, I've got several of those. You know, Travis Tritt has been a big influence of mine. Just his style, his stage presence. A great entertainer, right? Great music choices.
Absolutely.
Garth Brooks's energy. I was so blessed and honored to be able to be second row center stage for a concert he did a few years back here in Jacksonville, Florida. Great experience. Vince Gill, I love his vocals, his songwriting, and if I could meet somebody, I'd love to meet Vince Gill at some point, because that guy is just hands down everything. Even Dwight Yoakam, listen to him a lot growing up, listen to my dad sing a lot of Dwight Yoakam music, and that guy's just got a style that is intense, it's mysterious. Great guy, great music. I would say, man, that sums it up for me.
So you're a 90s country guy like me.
I'm definitely in that area. I love 90s country. It's hard for me to jump right in and say I have a favorite here in the new country. I've had the blessing and opportunities to work with Lee Bryce several times. He's a very humble guy. Done some road shows with him and his crew. Great songwriter. So I guess he falls into the millennial song realm. Him and a few others that I know are doing really well. Listen, man, new country goes from here to here. Mm-hmm. It's so hard to pinpoint of what it actually is. We got these subgenres kicking up in country music now, which is very interesting, but I think growth is good.
Yeah, because when you talk about, that spectrum, you have kind of like Luke Bryan on one end and Luke Combs on the other, which is like a throwback to the 90s.
It is, man. He kind of sticks to his roots, doesn't he? You get this guy coming up, nobody knew who he was, speaking of Luke Combs, and then all of a sudden he's got all these hits on the radio. He's a great writer. I got to see him at the Grammys when we attended a few years ago. Him and his, I don't know if he's married yet.
Yes, yeah,
but she was with him, and they're just great people. But the music, man, it touches all angles. He can be the millennial country without being millennial. So I love his sound, and I'm grateful for him and Chris Stapleton, all those guys who bring real music to the table.
All right, absolutely love all those guys. But let's talk more about your music. What What do you have out? What can fans expect to hear? Are they going to hear that 90s style? Are they going to hear a little bit of both? Talk about your music now.
Yeah, so I don't know that I want to put a finger on a '90s style or a particular style. I like to take a song, I like to write a song, and I work with my co-writers on the music side, and we like to just form music. I never want to go in the studio saying, "Hey, we're going to do a '90s sounding country song. We're going to do a hip hop country song." I never want to tie it to that. I want to go in and I want to use the talents of those musicians that we use and have them do their thing and put their magic to it. Lyrically, I like songs that tell a story. I love to write lyrics that can tell a story of my life or somebody else's life or the now times, which pretty much brings us to where we are with our current single, The American Prayer. Have you had the opportunity to hear that song?
I have not yet, but I'll definitely check that out.
Absolutely. It's doing really well for us on radio. We've got a great team out of Nine North Records out of Nashville. They've partnered with us. We just got a great team involved. Radio is liking it. It's definitely working its way up. So thank you, country music fans. Thank you, country radio, for that opportunity. That song, it's got a great sound. Not only were the lyrics good, but it's got a good sound for people to want to hear it. It's really a tribute to our men and women law enforcement and military for their sacrifice and for their families. So praise God that we had an opportunity to put out music like that in this time.
Yeah, politics aside, I think we need more music like that, and especially
Yeah.
now during this weird, tumultuous time that we're going through as a country. We need that. We don't need that division. We need the unity, and hopefully
Yes.
your music with your faith behind it will show us that direction a little more than where we've been.
That's what I'm hoping. I've just asked for God to use me. Here I am. He put me on a platform, put me back on a platform that I really appreciate, that I love. I love the live stage. I love the people that come with it. I love the performing. Are we feeling like we're in a drought? Absolutely are, with this crazy business happening, not being able to be on the road in front of the people to share the music. But luckily, we have this thing called social media that we can still reach many people and share our music and just put it in the minds of them. But yes, man, I'm so excited to have this song on our hands to share that message of unity and bringing people together. And I hope the people appreciate it and can fully understand that it's not just about the individual serving military or law enforcement, but also about their families. And our duty as citizens and musicians and patrons and all that to pray for those individuals and try to let them know that they're loved and appreciated. It is a big world out there and there's a lot of things happening. But thank God we got music to turn to, right?
Absolutely. And, one of the escapes that we all have is attending live shows. And obviously, over the last plus year, we haven't been able to do that. What's that been like for you as a entertainer, as a performer, as a singer-songwriter, where you don't get to do what you love to do in that aspect?
Yeah, so it's been tough. For me, it's very interesting because March 13th of 2020, just as COVID started to get pretty heavy, we performed our final performance at the House of Blues here in Orlando. Great crowd, almost full capacity. It was actually my farewell show. I was saying goodbye to the chase, right? I felt like I was in it for selfish reasons. I've got a beautiful family. I serve a wonderful church here, and I want to dedicate myself more to my family and God and my church. And in doing that, I continue to pray that God use me. And then God put this song in our hands. God put the people in our lives, in our pathway to bring us back. So I think he just had to humble me a little bit. With that being said, for me, I've been off the road for, like a lot of other people, a little over a year now. We have one or two shows. We did a family event back in November for a really good crowd here in our state. But it's been very quiet. We are performers. We are entertainers. We feed off the energy, and our music is lonely when we don't have people to share it with. And I tell you what, man, the social media platform, that baby's difficult. That is nothing like getting out in front of the people and shaking hands and hugging necks and praying right there on the spot with people. And, this band behind you, just the energy level. Like, we are so excited that it's going to try to start coming back, man. And I think I can speak for all performers out there that we're going to come back with vengeance, buddy. The shows are going to be a little more spectacular than we're normal, than what we're really used to, just because we've got all this energy built up, just ready to go. You know?
Yeah, and I feel like it's tour announcements are starting to come through, and I feel like it's not only going to be a crowded market in the next couple of years, but it's going to be very packed. I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of these shows are going to be sold out, and they're going to go quickly because people are eager to get out there to see new music, see their favorite performers, legendary performers, all of that into one. And it's just going to be a massive influx of shows and concert tickets sold, I feel.
I can totally agree to that. And I'm hoping that we get that opportunity to jump on board with some of these guys and go play some of those sold out shows if we don't sell some out ourselves. That's all in God's timing. The teams are working hard. I know everybody's camps behind scenes. They've been cutting new material. They've been writing songs, just really vamping up their show. And it helps when the artists, the performers are super passionate about what they do. And I think that comes to show that it's not just a job for me, it's a lifestyle, hashtag music life, right? So I'm like you, man. I think it's going to be crazy. I think the fans are eager to see, touch, and feel again. People can start selling merchandise. They can feel like they're a part of the show once again. And boy, I tell you what, the promoters are going to have their hands full when it comes trying to come up with all these rules and regulations and how to maneuver everything. But I think we are on the right track. And I think everybody's prepared. And yes, it's going to be one heck of a next 365 days, my friend.
Absolutely. And before we go, do you have any tour dates lined up at this moment?
So we have some that we have not published yet. We are just waiting for that pop, right? It's just kind of the things that we're doing. We're excited for the opportunities that we have coming up. We've got some national dates coming up. We've got some local dates coming up. And we've been in and out of the studio working on some stuff. Not that we're going to be putting it all out yet, but our team has a lot of things in our back pocket. Right now, we're keeping our focus on our song, The American Prayer. It's doing really well. And I just really want to encourage the listeners to jump on, take a listen, help understand what that song totally means. Shout out to our team out of Nashville, Larry Paregas and his team for promoting the record, as well as our PR team, Scott and Jeremy with 2911. They've been amazing.
Yeah, they're great guys. Everybody that works together in all this stuff, they don't get enough praise because they're behind the
That's right.
Fans don't realize what a team it takes to make all this, even during a pandemic where it's hard for performers to, keep things moving as far as that goes.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And they are great, not just good business people, but they're great one-on-one people that, you almost want to give a big old air hug and call them family.
It's a pleasure. Glad to introduce you to our audience, and hopefully we'll hear more new music and see you out on the road soon.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you. Thank you for your time this morning. You be safe there on the West Coast, way on the other side. And y'all guys be safe, my friend.